hapon. Tapos siguro start na po tayo ng 10:15.
Hello everyone, start na po ba tayo? A good day everyone. We are Group 4 and today we're here to delve into the topic Healing Your Inner Child, a Path to Financial Wellness. And by the way, bear with me na lang po if ever mawala since may nakaschedule po sa aming power interruption. So ayun, in this topic together, we're going to explore kung ano nga ba talaga ang koneksyon ng sinasabi nating healing inner child sa pag-achieve ng financial stability. But before anything else, may gusto muna akong itanong. Sino rito ang mahilig magsabi ng phrase na, deserve ko to? Minsan dadamay pa mga kasama sasabihin, deserve natin to dahil sa mga nangyari or ginawa. Perfect example ay after ng examinations or activities na mahihirap. Bigla na lang may bubulong na, tara kain, tara gala, uy, deserve natin to. Kahit minsan, di naman talaga alam kung papasta ba talaga. So, sinong guilty? Yan, may nakikita ko sa chat box. Si Miss Boragay daw. Natalie. Hello.
Hello po.
Tingin mo, bakit natin hilig sabihin yon?
Ano po, pampalubag loob po.
Pampalubag loob. Okay, tama. Si Jomel din daw. Master Jomel.
Ano po, para po makakapag-relax ng stress.
Stress. Okay. Actually, personally, super guilty din ako dito. So, next slide po. Yan, actually, we can relate that to understanding consumer culture. First one, the influence. Kasama dito yung pagbili natin ng mga bagay na hindi naman talaga natin kailangan in the first place. For example, meron tayo ng isang bagay like damit at may nakita ka na katulad nun pero ibang kulay. Kung isipin natin, hindi na talaga natin kailangan bumili ng isa pa pero bibili pa rin tayo. Because of what? For some people, this is because nung mga bata sila, they weren't able to get those things. Tandaan nyo ba yung umuso dating umiilaw na balloon? Same concept applies. A lot of people were tempted to buy kahit matanda na. And kung titingnan natin in a deeper sense, there's actually a story behind that. It's not because maganda lang siya. Wow, ang cool kasi umiilaw. But most of them ay bumibili dahil back then, they weren't able to get or afford those kind of stuffs. Madalas, it's not a need, but a want. We often hear people say na, this is all to heal my inner child. Before doing something they believe would address unresolved wants and needs of their younger selves. And the second one, the impact. Of course, it's great to see people na makarecover sa mga hindi ganun kagagandang memories na they have been carrying with them until today. We're looking for ways to release that negativity. However, healing our inner child comes with a price. Literally. Especially sa marami na ang way of coping is through spending on various products or service. As said here, this constant need for fulfillment can lead to overspending, debt, and a feeling of being trapped in a cycle of consumption. Siguro at first glance, these two concepts do not seem to be connected in any way, but the act of healing our inner child is not consumer-free and inexpensive katulad ng pinaniniwala ng iba sa atin. But we must also know that spending money is not the only way to heal our inner child. Now, to discuss that further, I'm giving the floor to Master Allison.
Yes, thank you, Alexandra. So this slide naman po, it represents the three-level hierarchy addressing the unmet childhood needs, emotional fulfillment, and healing the inner child. So the first one is the unmet needs. Our inner child represents the unmet needs from childhood, which may manifest as desire for validation, love, or security. So this level emphasizes na yung mga pangangailangan natin noong bata pa tayo, tulad ng validation, pagmamahal, o security, ay ang maaaring hindi natugunan. Dahil dito, ang mga hindi natugunang pangangailangan na ito ay naiiwan at nadadala natin hanggang sa pagtanda. And it may affect sa ating mga emotions and kilos. Kaya mahalaga na ma-recognize natin ito para mas maintindihan ng sarili at makapagsimula ng healing process. So, for example is, a child who did not receive enough encouragement may grow up constantly seeking external validations. For the next is seeking fulfillment. This stage describes how unmet needs can manifest as unhealthy behaviors. Ang mga unmet needs o hindi natugunang pangangailangan natin, lalo na yung emosyonal, ay pwedeng magresulta sa impulsive spending o biglaang paggastos. Minsan, ginagamit natin ang mga material na bagay bilang paraan para punan yung mga kakulangan sa emotional na aspeto ng buhay natin. Halimbawa ay kapag stress tayo o malungkot, minsan bumibili tayo ng mga bagay na hindi naman talaga natin kailangan para pansamantalang sumaya. So the third one is breaking the cycle. At this level, the focus is on healing. Healing our inner child means na ina-acknowledge natin yung mga unmet needs natin from our past, especially during our childhood. Ito yung mga bagay na hindi natin nakuha emotionally or mentally nung bata pa tayo. Um, through so through self-compassion, our pagmamahal sa sarili and emotional awareness, natututo tayong harapin yung mga issues na ito. Sa ganitong paraan, mas nagiging emotionally healthy tayo at mas kayang mag-grow as individuals. So it's really about understanding ourselves better and receiving the care we didn't receive before. So for the next one, it will be discussed by Mr. Antinor.
Ako, the next slide shows the three foundation for financial stability. The first one is budgeting. Creating a realistic budget helps you track your income and expenses, setting the foundation for financial control. This means that this will help you organize the most prioritized to the least prioritized things. With this, you will know if your money is being spent wisely and is being used in good things. The second one is saving. Establishing an emergency fund and saving for your goals provides a caution against unexpected events and helps you achieve your financial aspiration. This will help you in difficult and unexpected situations that may happen in your life. Examples are emergencies and natural disasters. By having savings, you will have money to use even though it is not part of your budget. And lastly, the third one is investing. Investing your savings wisely Investing your savings wisely allows your money to grow over time, generating wealth and securing your financial future. Don't you know that most businessmen gain wealth through investing? If you invest for things, this will help you grow wealth and might help you become rich in the future. Next slide.
So for the next one, we will have some of the mindful spending habits. The first habit is pause before purchasing. Take a moment to reflect on whether you truly need the item and if it aligns with your values and financial goals. So, bago daw tayo bumili ng mga products, mahalagang isipin muna natin at itanong sa sarili natin kung kailangan ko ba talaga ito? Magagamit ko ba ito na matagal or aligned ba ito sa financial goals natin? So, halimbawa, may nakita kang bagong sapatos sa mall, tapos naka-sale pa. Pero tanungin muna natin sarili natin na may sapat ka pa ba ang sapatos na ginagamit mo pa? O kung bibili ka, maapektuhan ba ang budget mo para sa ibang bagay tulad ng pagkain o tuition? Ang pag-iisip bago bumili ay makakatulong para maiwasan ang impulsive buying at pagsisisi. Next one is practice gratitude. Be thankful for what you have and shift your focus from acquiring more to appreciating what you already possess. Ang pagiging grateful ay malaking tulong para maibsan ang urge na laging bumili. Halimbawa, kapag nakita mong may mga bagong gadget o bagay ang mga kaibigan mo, di ba minsan maiinggit tayo sa kanila? Pero imbis na mag-focus tayo sa wala, isipin natin kung gaano kaserte sa mga bagay na meron na tayo. Like kung kailangan mo pa ba talagang bumili ng new gadget kahit meron ka pa namang functional phone or other things na functional pa din sa atin. Makakatulong ito para mas ma-enjoy natin ang mga meron tayo ang hindi natin kailangan gumastos pa. And for the last one is challenge consumerism, where we question the messages and pressure of consumer culture and chose to prioritize your well-being over material possessions. So marami talagang promotions ngayon na mahirap tanggihan. Pero minsan marketing strategy lang ito para ma-trigger ng impulsive buying. Bago bumili, let's ask ourselves first kung magagamit ko pa ba ito, sulit ba ang pera ko o kaya ko pa ba maghintay? Mas mabuti kung unahin natin ang sustainable lifestyle at maging mindful sa mga bagay na binibili natin. So, for the next slide po, we will have Miss Allison again.
Yes, so for this slide is mahalaga na intindihin natin ang pera ay isang tool. Hindi ito masama o mabuti. Depende ito sa kung paano natin ito ginagamit. A healthy mindset about money starts with seeing it as a resource that can help us achieve our goals tulad ng edukasyon, travel, or pagtulong sa pamilya. So this focuses on three essential pillars of financial well-being. The first one is financial literacy. It understands the personal finance concepts such as budgeting, investing, and debt management enables informed decision making. Mas makakagawa tayo ng informed decision pagdating sa pera. Halimbawa, kung marunong kang mag-budget, alam mo kung paano hatiin ang kita mo para sa gastusin, savings, and emergency funds. Kung naiintindahan mo naman ang investing, pwede mong palaguin ang pera mo para sa future. At sa debt management, matutulungan ka nitong iwasan ang malalim na utang o mabilis itong bayaran. Sa madaling salita, pag in-educate natin ang sarili natin sa mga ito, magiging mas financially stable tayo sa hinaharap. The second one is financial planning. Financial planning is all about creating a step-by-step plan para ma-achieve ang mga goals sa buhay. Ang unang step ay developing a financial plan na naka-align sa ating goals, values, and risk tolerance. Halimbawa, kung ang goal mo ay makapag-ipon para sa college or bumili ng sariling bahay, dapat alam mo kung paano ito uumpisahan. Ibig sabihin, kailangang i-prioritize ang savings, investment, at pag-manage ng expenses mo. Importante din na aware ka sa risk tolerance mo. Ibig sabihin, gaano ka kahanda mag-take ng risk investments mo. In short, ang financial plan ay parang roadmap na maggabay sa'yo para maabot mo ang financial stability at security in the future. Kaya simulan natin ang pagpaplano habang maaga pa. The third one is financial growth. Ang financial growth ay hindi lang basta pagtitipid, kundi ang pagpapalago ng iyong pera para sa iyong kinabukasan. It's all about focusing on building wealth and securing your financial well-being. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang tayo dapat mag-save, kundi mag-invest at maghanap ng opportunities na magpapalago sa ating mga resources. First is let's talk about mindset. When you embrace a mindset of abundance, ibig sabihin nito naniniwala ka na may sapat na opportunities para sa lahat. Hindi mo naisip na limitado ang mga resources. With this mindset, mag-i-invest ka, mag-aaral ka tungkol sa financial tools at maghahanap ka ng ways to increase your income. Pangalawa, you need to focus on growth. It's not just about saving money, but also making it grow through investment like stocks, real estate, or even starting your own business. Ang key dito ay long-term thinking. Hindi mo dapat tingnan ang short-term gains, kundi ang mga opportunities na magbibigay sa iyo ng financial security in the future. And lastly, securing your financial well-being means preparing for emergencies, retirement, and other life goals. Maganda ring magkaroon ng financial plan na may mga clear goals para alam mo kung saan mo gustong makarating. In short, financial growth is about shifting your mindset to one of abundance, learning to make your money work for you, and securing your future through smart financial decisions. Remember, it's not just about earning, but growing and managing your wealthy wise. Next slide po is for bond.
Investing in your well-being is an important part of loving yourself. These are the different ways of investing in your well-being. The first one is self-care. Prioritize self-care practices that nurture your emotional, mental, and physical well-being allows you to feel grounded and content. By prioritizing your self-care, this will allow you to grow not only physically but as a whole. This will help you improve your character and emotions that will be a good feedback to those around you. And the second one is mindfulness. Cultivate mindfulness and emotional awareness to break free from impulsive spending and make conscious choices about your finances. By cultivating mindfulness, this will allow you to control decisions that aren't important to you and have a good decision making in handling financial and emotional aspects of your life. The last is gratitude. Practice gratitude for the blessings in your life, shifting your focus from what you lack to to what you already possess. Being content with what you have and what God gave you makes you a whole unique person. We all have different aspects that we shine the most. So we should be grateful for what we have and improve this to be better as a whole. And the next slide will be presented by Antenor.
So for the next slide, we have some of the ways to embrace a balanced approach. First one is mindful consumption. It is to engage in intentional spending, prioritizing experiences and meaningful purchases over fleeting material possessions. So, ang mindful consumption daw ay ang pag-prioritize ng mga bagay na tunay na mahalaga at kapaki-pakinabang. So, hindi lang ito ang basta pagbili ng kung ano ang gusto mo or especially ang mga uso ngayon, kundi pag-iisip muna kung may mga long-term value ba ito. For an example, imbes na bumili ng bagong gadget, kahit gumagana pa ang luma mong cellphone, mas maganda kung pag-ipunan muna natin ang mga bagay tulad ng travel experiences o bagong kalaman na magagamit mo sa hinaharap. So sa ganitong paraan, mas may iwasan natin ang impulsive buying at mas mapapabuti natin ang ating financial habits. Second one is sustainable living. It is to embrace a sustainable lifestyle that minimizes your environmental impact and reduces unnecessary consumption, saving money and promoting well-being. Ang sustainable living ay tungkol sa pagtulong sa kalikasan habang natututo tayong maging mas maingat sa paggamit ng resources. For an example nito ay paggamit ng reusable bag sa grocery, pagpili ng mga eco-friendly na produkto, or pagbawas sa paggamit ng plastic. So, sa pamamagitan nito, nababawasan natin ang waste, nakakatipid din tayo at nakapangalagaan natin ang ating environment. Ang pag-practice ng mga sustainable living ay hindi lang makakabuti sa ating planeta, kundi magdadala rin ng kasimplihan at pagiging resourceful sa ating pamumuhay. And for the last one, we have financial independence. It is to strive for financial independence, allowing you to live life on your own terms and pursue your passions with freedom and security. Ang financial independence ay ang kakayahang mabuhay ng may kalayaan sa iyong finances, nang hindi umaasa sa ibang tao or unnecessary expenses. For example, ang pagkakaroon ng savings at pag-iwas sa utang ang isa sa mga ito. Next is pag-invest sa mga bagay na magpapalago ng pera mo tulad ng stocks, mutual funds, or maliit na negosyo. Kapag may mga financial security ka, mas magawa natin ang mga bagay na mahalaga sa atin tulad ng pag-abot sa ating long-term goals or pagtubad sa iyong passion at pagkakaroon ng mas maraming choices sa buhay. So that's all lang po.
So, in conclusion, ang topic na ito is tungkol sa healing your inner child and financial stability. Connected silang dalawa dahil pareho silang bahagi ng self-discovery and personal growth. Kapag in-address natin ang emotional needs natin like healing past traumas or unmet childhood needs, mas nagiging aware tayo sa mga decisions natin sa buhay, kabilang na ang finances. Importante rin na ang mindful spending o ang pagiging maingat sa paggastos, hindi lang tayo basta-basta gumagastos, kundi iniisip natin kung align ba ito sa goals and priorities natin. Lastly, kailangan din ng balance approach. Ibig sabihin, hindi natin inuubos ang oras para sa pagtatrabaho lang, pero binibigyan din natin ng halaga ang mental health at happiness. Sa ganitong paraan, mas magiging posible ang pagkakaroon ng abundant and well-rounded na buhay. In short guys, bilhin nyo lang yung mga gusto nyong bilhin. Deserve natin yan. Yun lang po. Thank you.
Ayan, thank you Group 5 for presenting. Group 6, ready na ba ang PPT?
Hindi po. Let's wait lang. Ayan. So, visible na po ba sa lahat? Ayan. Okay. So to start off, good morning everyone. And so today we are to talk about a serious topic, and some may find it sensitive and some may find it not. Kaya naman, with the help of our presentation, we are going to delve into the topic of religion and spirituality. First of all, napatanong na rin ba kayo sa sarili nyo, ano nga ba ako sa mundong to? Anong saysay ko? Bakit ba may mga ganitong pangyayari sa mundo? If yes, then good for you. Somehow we can say na you're able to see your purpose in life and the true meaning of your existence. But on the other hand, if no, then come with us for a short ride through religion and spirituality. To start off, alamin muna natin kung ano nga ba ang religion or religion. In line with the spiritual self, according to guidance from the year 2006, ang meaning ng religion ay isang sistema ng paniniwala at ritual na tumutulong sa mga tao upang maunawaan ang kahulugan ng kanilang buhay. Kadalasan nakatuon ito sa mga bagay na sagrado at makalangit na nagbibigay ng direksyon at yung sinasabi natin na goal natin in life as being part of that particular religion. He also emphasized three key elements, which are religion is a form of culture share, religion involves beliefs and that are expressed through ritualization, and lastly, religion provides a sense of purpose, feeling that life is ultimately meaningful. In addition, ayon naman kay Durkheim mula sa taong 1912, ang relihiyon ay isang nagkakaisang sistema ng mga paniniwala at gawi na may kaugnayan sa mga sagradong bagay. Mga bagay na itinuturing na banal at gayon rin naman sa mga bawal. And later on, we will dig deeper into the meaning of religion. For now, we will move on kung paano nga ba hinatin nito ang ating mundo. Ayon sa World Religion infographics na inyong makikita sa inyong screens ngayon, our world is divided into mainly 6 religions. Ito ay ang Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, Chinese, and Judaism. And a little trivia lang. Did you know na Pilipinas lang ang nag-iisang Christian country in the Southeast Asia? At makikita natin ito sa iba't ibang religious practices tulad na lamang ng mga binyag, fiestas kung saan may ino-honor tayo ng mga patron saints and prayers. At iba pang mga activities na related sa church. Now moving on, we have the scale from the year 2012 na naniniwalang ang karamihan pa rin ng mga Pilipino ay naniniwala sa tinatawag nating mga superstitions o kilala rin sa tawag na mga pamahiin. Sinasabing nagiging paniniwala ito ng mga Pilipino to cope up with the day-to-day activities na mostly mas ginagamit sa iba't ibang bagay. Tulad na lamang ng paghanap ng trabaho, pagpapatayo ng bagong bahay, or maging sa paghahanap ng love life mo. Kayo ba, sa tingin nyo, ano yung mga superstitions na pinaniniwalaan nyo even up to this day? Meron ba kayong mga superstitions or mga pamahiin na ginagamit? Ako mukhang wala. Kaya siguro, chares. So, ayun. Although na this is called superstitions, upon researching, this has no basis of being true or not. On our side, we can tell naman na wala ring mawawala sa atin kung susundin natin. At wala rin namang mawawala kung hindi natin susundin. Ika nga nila, this relies on the belief on that specific person. Now, the second part of this topic is the concept of dungan or spiritual or soul. We will talk about the spirit and soul of a person in every life. The term animism is one of the oldest beliefs, which is taken from the Latin word anima, meaning breath or soul. Ang animism ay isang paniniwala na lahat ng mga living and non-living things ay may kanya-kanyang spirits and divinity. Hanggang ngayon, ito ay paniniwala pa rin. Ang soul, ayon sa indigenous Filipino, ay ang tinatawag na kaluluwa. or karuruwa na hango sa salitang ugat na duwa. Means to dahil ang kaluluwa ay may two parts. The physical part, which is the body and life, and where it exists on its own. Iba nag-explain that body is matter while soul is the form. Hanggat ang katawan ay may kaluluwa, mananatiling buhay ang isang tao. At kapag namatay ang isang tao, ang kaluluwa nito ay hihiwalay sa kanyang katawan. Ang katawan ay hindi mabubuhay na walang kaluluwa, ngunit ang kaluluwa naman ay mabubuhay na walang katawan. Which means that ang kaluluwa ng mga tao ay hihiwalay lamang sa tao kapag namatay ka, but still nag-exist ito in such a way na hindi natin nalalaman. And did you guys know na pag natutulog tayo, yung soul or spirit natin ay humihiwalay sa ating katawan, which means kailangan hindi ka agad-agad nagigising para bumalik yung soul mo sa katawan mo. Tapos kusan na kayong magising kapag bumalik na yung soul sa katawan ninyo. So kapag di bumalik yung kaluluwa ninyo habang tulog na kayo, alam niyo na yun. So ewan ko na lang. And to sum it all up, an adult person with a healthy dangan, properly lodged into his physical body, will have bodily health and well-being, intelligence, and good sense. Now we will move on to religion, spirituality, magic, and witchcraft, as well as to identity, which is to be discussed by Miss Frances Maligaya.
So, ayan, thank you, Sir Domingo. Let's now proceed to the next part. Now, this topic, we will first discuss about rituals. On your perspective, or you might think na tinutukoy natin na rituals ay ganito, yung mga manifestations na ginagamit tuwing exam. Ito, nagsisend ng circle ni Shrek para pumasa sa chem. Ang tanong, nagkatotoo ba? Yung gayong mo ni Venice, ritual yon kasi may process of making. Gumana ba? Na in love? So, in reality, it's not these kinds of rituals. Kaya siguro we are often have the misconception pag di naging nakukuha natin yung outcome na gusto natin. For example, napapaisip ka na lang na, ginawa ko naman to, kaso ba't parang bagsak pa rin ako sa exam? Ba't di niya pa rin ako kina-crush ba? Ba't lagi na lang nararanasan ng ganito? Mga ganong items or mga ganong scenarios. So, to clarify, next slide po. Rituals and ceremonies of the Filipinos are best understood in terms of their intentions. At the core of any ritual, balance between a man and nature and the spirit world is very important. Ritual is an attempt to enhance and maintain this balance. So ayun, kaya tayo nagkaka-rituals, it is to have the equilibrium for both worlds, both spirit, nature, and man. Next slide, please. So, ayan yung mga examples ng ginagawa natin. Parang birthday ni Chelsea yun ah. So, ito yung mga reasons for and functions ng mga rituals. It is the core purpose of rituals is for to maintain balance nga between humanity, nature, and the spirit world. Bakit nga ba natin to ginagawa? It is to restore the balance. Villages perform rituals to restore harmony when disruptions occur, addressing the many imbalances. Kunwari na lang, an example of this imbalance na lagi natin nakikita is kapag ang harvest ng isang farm or ng isang village sobrang baba, what do? 'Di ba nagawa sila ng dance for a deity or someone na para magkaroon ng continuity yung kanilang crops para nagkaroon ng abundance. So maraming variety of rituals na ginaganap dito sa Pilipinas. Ang ginagamit to for good harvest, protection, healing, luck, and fertility. So ayun, I am now giving the floor to Miss Donna Caringal for the next one. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali. The next topic will about religion, magic, and witchcraft. Dito naman ay malalaman natin yung mga kulam as one of our beliefs that is also believed to be existent nowadays. But first, let's have look back on the meaning of religion. Religion came from the Latin word religio means to respect or care for. It is generally defined as belief in, worship of, or obedience to a supernatural power or powers considered to be a divine or to have control of human destiny. It is also referred to as an organized system of beliefs, ceremonies, rules used to worship God. Actually, walang accurate meaning yung religion. It depends on the culture of a country, like kung ano ba yung tinuturo at kung ano ba yung mga practices na kinagis na natin. Next po. The next naman is sacred and spiritual identity. The term sacred may signify a person, an object, or a principle or a concept that transcends the self, while spiritual identity is the persistent sense of self that addresses ultimate questions about the nature, purpose, and meaning of life. Dito naman ay yung sacred is yung mga practices na mayroon tayo or mga paniniwala like ceremonies ng kasal, misa at binyag. Tsaka yung pagsisimba natin at pagbabasa ng Bible. Tapos yung spiritual identity is yung parang up until now, hindi natin alam kung ano yung purpose natin sa buhay at bakit nga ba tayo nag-e-exist. Next po. Now let's now move to magic and witchcraft. Magic is a power apparently influencing the course of events by using mysterious or supernatural forces. Ayon sa paniniwala ni Frankel and Stein, ang magic daw ay is considered as evil figure sa kung paano ito ginagawa. Like yung mga magic na biglang nawawala or parang nakukuha yung mind mo roon sa magic. Not actually hypnotized, but rather you give such interest on that magic hanggang sa sobrang na-absorb na yun ang utak mo. Balang or sorcerer. A sorcerer is translated from the Greek word pharmakos and carries with it the idea of medicine, magic potion, drugs, and poison. Ito naman yung mga parang gumagawa ng mga harm to others in such a way na nababarang sila, like binibigyan ng sakit yung mga tao. Usually, nangyayari ito kapag may mga kaaway yung tao, tapos bigla na lang may word kang mapapansin sa sarili mo, like yung mga sakit na bukol, mga butas-butas sa katawan, tapos yung mga parang inuud yung part ng katawan mo. Ayan yung mga example ng balang. Next po. Mangkukulam is a person who uses black magic or spells on a victim which can cause illness to others and can cured with modern medicine. Ang kulam naman is yung ginagawang mga parang sinasapian yung isang tao, like nawawala siya sa sarili or yung mga may sumasakit din na hindi naman tolerable yung pain. Actually, alam mo naman yun sa sarili mo kapag alam mong weird yung nangyayari sa iyo. Ito rin ay pwedeng mga sugat, bukol, or kung ano pa. Ang malala lang rito sa kulam is pwede ka nila makontrol tapos bigla na lang tutubo ang sakit sa iyo na hindi naman normal. Albularyo or mananambal is a Filipino practitioner of traditional medicine. He is also a medicine man who is also capable of performing sorcery. Ang albularyo naman is sila naman yung gumagamot sa mga victims ng mga barang or kulang. Sila yung may kakayahan na gumagamot sa kanila na natutukoy nila kung nakulam ka ba or nabarang. May certain things sila na ginagawa sa isang tao. Actually, you find it weird kasi naisip mo kung paano nila nagagawa yon. Kasi di ba, for example, yung sa kulam, yung malalaman ng albularyo yung nakasapi doon sa victim, tas kinakausapan nila, sasabihin, anong pangalan mo, bakit ka nariyan, something like that. Tapos, yung biktima naman, kusang sasagot na parang iba yung boses, pero ang katawan niya is sobrang nanghihina or minsan aggressive. I think kapag aggressive, nalalaban yung may katawan or yung nakasapi or sobrang lala ng sapi sa katawan. Next po. Wait lang. In addition to that pala, is sobrang superstitious ng mga Pilipino kasi it is based on experience or sa mga nababalitaan. Then kasi 'di ba maniniwala ka ba kung wala namang patunay unless uto-uto ka. Most Filipinos, aside from being a superstitious people, believe in the mythical creatures of local folklore. These creatures usually inhabit in dark places in provinces. Tsaka yung mga Pilipino naman is naniniwala sila sa mga mythical creatures such as Tikbalang, Tiyanak, Engkanto, Shokoy, Sirena, Kapre at mga duwende. At tsaka nangyayari ito sa mga mostly sa mga provinces kasi doon madadaming puno. Thank you po. The next will be finding and creating meaning, which will be discussed by Christian.
So yun, thank you, Donna, for finding and creating meaning. So it is said that everybody experience different challenges and problems in life. Some have common problems, but some do not. And upon these challenges, we ought to have different approaches kung paano nga natin masosolusyonan ang mga problema na yon. However, sinasabi rin na despite sa mga problema na iniisip natin sa pansarili lamang, the moment we ask others about it, we will then finally realize na mali pala tayo, given that there are people who are facing much bigger problems than us. At mapapaisip ka na lang na hindi naman talaga dapat nating problemahin yung mga bagay na iniisip natin. Next slide, please. Moving on, according to an Austrian neurologist and psychologist named Viktor Frankl, he founded the concept of logotherapy, wherein he based it on the premise that the human person is motivated by a will to meaning. It's an inner pull to find a meaning in life. To further understand the meaning of this logotherapy by Viktor Frankl, here are the following list of the tenets or the beliefs that represents the basic principles of logotherapy. So, next slide, please. So, yan. So, the first one is life has meaning under all circumstances, even the most miserable ones. So, this only means na even there are times when people are often seen as happy and positive, sila pa yung most likely to have the most negative experiences in life. Sila yung madalas na kine-question yung kredibilidad nila, kakayanan nila, and many more. And it is said to be that this kind of thinking are beyond human understanding and control. Kung kaya naman ang tendency is tinatanggap na lang natin at ipinagbabahala na lang kay Lord or God kung ano yung pinatutunguhan ng buhay natin. In short, it is just us encouraged to seek and embrace the meaning of purpose of life behind the experiences. So the second one, our motivation for living is our will to find meaning in life. This tells us na despite all the sufferings and hardships na nararanasan natin, we use these situations as the foundation to how we would compose and motivate ourselves to keep on striving in life. Just like from experience, as we study here in the university, di may pagkakaila na sa dami na naging paghihirap natin kahit first year pa lang tayo, just to get to the point where we are in, we always tend to look back sa lahat ng mga pangyayaring yun at yun yung magsasabi sa atin na sa dami ng napagdaanan kong ito, ngayon pa ba ako susuko? That is the main point of this. But being able to stand up against any barriers and challenges and use them as an inspiration and motivation to always keep on fighting in life. So the third one would be we have freedom to find meaning in what we do and what we experience, or at least in the stand we take when faced with a situation of unchangeable suffering. This means na with the freedom that we have, we are capable of making choices and options to make the situation in favor with us. Hindi natin kailangan na pahirapan yung sarili natin. We just have to seek the right path para maging ayon sa atin ang tadhana. As said, situations with unchangeable suffering may cause pain, but at the end of the day, individuals will find purpose in their lives. Now, for our last topic, we have this illustration that depicts the ways, so it's on how we can discover the meaning of life in different ways by Viktor Frankl. So, first one is the freedom of will, where we are free to choose an attitude towards conditions in life, and then the meaning in life, which can be found in any situation, and lastly, the will to meaning, where we are motivated to find the meaning of life itself.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Christian Suarez. And that ends our presentation today. We hope you all learned something, and we'll sum this all up with a quotation which we encourage you na laging tandaan. And accept no one's definition of your life and always define yourself. Hindi nyo kailangan magpadikta sa iba kung paano nyo pagaganahin o paano kayo mag-go in life. Mas kilala niyo yung sarili nyo, and mas yun yung dapat na maging basis nyo kung paano kayo magpapatuloy. Yun lang po, and thank you for listening.
Ayun, thank you Group 6. Group 7, ready na ba ang PowerPoint nyo and presentation? Present na lang kayo and then you're ready to start.
Ayan, hello, good morning everyone. Gising pa po ba kayo? Ayan. So today, wait lang po. Ayun, wait lang daw po at nagkakaproblema po. Ayan, hello. Audible po ba? So, ngayon nga po, ang ating pag-uusapan ay about voters' education and kung paano tayo magiging active citizen sa ating bansa. Gusto ko lamang itanong sa inyo kung sino po sa inyo ang mga botante na po. Makikireact naman po. Ay, alam ko naman po na parang halos lahat tayo ay botante na rin since tayo ay nasa college na. And gusto ko lang din malaman kung sino po sa inyo ang nakaranas ng bumoto. Ayan, may mga nagre-react. Tanong ko lamang po kay Valerie Joy Valderrama, kung ano po yung experience nung, ayan, SK and barangay pa lang kasi ang last nating botohan ng presidential ay noong 2022 pa. So yun nga, ask ko lang kay Valerie kung ano yung experience mo during nung naboto ka. Hello po. Ayan, wala po ata si Miss Valerie. Next slide na po tayo.
Ano po, ayos lang naman po.
Ayun, okay lang daw. So, next slide po. Yan, voters education and how to become an active citizen. The Filipino Citizen Voter Education covers the political and electoral system, human rights, and governance that serves to contribute to efforts at developing matured and informed political attitudes and decisions of Filipino citizen voters. Ayun, sinasabi dito na bilang isang botante ay kailangan din nating maging aware sa kung ano yung mga patakaran. Meron po ba sa inyo na naging volunteer na like sa PPCRP? Like yung mga poll watchers, monitoring, voters assistance. Ayan po. Baka po meron sa inyong naka-experience na nun. Kasi po ako po ay during nung first time kong bumoto ay naging volunteer ako sa PPCRB and ang task ko ay maging poll watcher. Ang ginagawa po namin nun is parang chine-check sa loob ng isang classroom ay chine-check namin kung may mga nagaganap bang dugaan at saka kung meron bang mga hindi ka nais-nais na nangyayari sa loob, like may mga problema ba when it comes to sa mga balota, may mga and lahat ng 'yon ay nililista po namin sa papel namin, and after ng election ay diretso po 'yon sa PPCRP. Parang monitoring din po. Ayun po. So next slide po. Ayan, para sa slide po na ito ay si Samuel po ang ating
So, good morning po. In this part naman po ay I'll discuss lang yung definition ng election. So, it is said po na the election is the means by which the people choose their officials for definite and fixed periods. Ito po yung event na bumoboto tayo para pumili po ng mga i-elect natin sa governance po natin. And there are two types po of electoral exercises. There are regular elections, under po nito ay national, local, barangay, ARMM, at saka po SK. Dito po natin ine-elect yung mga pangulo, vice president, mga senador, mga konsehal po natin, barangay captain, and such. And ang next type naman po ay special elections. Under po nito ay plebiscite, referendum, initiative, and recall. That's it po for the definition of election po.
Hello po. Ang sunod naman po ay suffrage. Ito po ang suffrage po ay is the human right to vote to which in the Philippines is embodied in three documents. Ito po yung Universal Declaration of Human Rights or UDR-HR, and the International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights, and the 1987 Philippine Constitution. These documents all calls for universality of the right, equality in access to public service, and secrecy of votes. The political choice and decision you will make determine the kind of governance that will serve the country. the will of the people, then the best expressed is clean, orderly, and honest elections. Sunod naman po ay ang qualifications. Nandito po ba si Aldred? So, ang ito po yung qualifications to vote. This is the qualification of to vote in the Philippines election and to vote under the overseas absentee voting law. Sa qualification to vote in the Philippines election po, there are citizen of the Filipino. Sunod po ay those who are 18 years old and above on the day of elections, resident of the Philippines of 1 year and in a city of municipality wherein he or she proposes to vote for and at least 6 months before the election. Sunod naman po ay ang qualification to vote under the overseas absentee voting law. Ito po yung mga dapat ay Filipino citizen abroad, those who are 18 years old above din po, and immigrants with evident to resume residence in the Philippines, permanent residents with the affidavit and intent to resume resident in the Philippines. Sunod naman po ay ang mga disqualified by law to vote into Philippines elections. Ito po ay mga persons sentenced to be in prison for not less than 1 year, persons who committed rebellion, sedition, violation of the anti-subversion and firearms law, or any crime against national security or disloyal to the government, insane impermanent persons. Sunod naman po ay di-discuss po na Adrian.
Ayan, hello. How open are the elections held? Next slide po. Yan. Every second national and local elections, ginaganap po ito every second Monday of May and every third year starting noong 1992. Para naman sa presidential and vice presidential elections ay ginaganap po ito every 6 years. And election days in which president and vice president and barangay officials are not elected are called midterm elections. And election days naman in which the president and vice president are elected are called presidential elections. And barangay level officials, although are currently elected in the same year as the other officials, are elected separately by the succeeding month's Monday of May for national and local election. And every last Monday of October, every 3 years for barangay and SK officials, barangay level elections starting from 2007 are to be held every 3 years during the last Monday of October. Although these elections are frequently postponed as a cost-saving measure. And every 3 years of March 1993, yung ARRM elections in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao or yung BARMM starting from 2011 are to be held every 3 years during the second Monday of May. Next slide po. Ito pong next slide ay didiscuss po ni Samuel.
So hello po, I'll be discussing the action points po para sa mga citizen voters in exercising po their right of suffrage. Next slide po. So, before the election po, ito po ang mga gagawin natin para ma-exercise natin yung suffrage. So, before election to exercise the form and free choice under the election next to be in issues, platforms, and personalities of the political candidate And
Ayun, hello po. Nagkakaproblema po ata sa
for
signal. Ayan, ako na lang po siguro magdi-discuss for action points for citizen voters in exercising the rights of suffrage. Before elections are prepared to exercise the right of suffrage and the right to an informed and free choice. Well, register during the first is to register during the period allowed for voter registration. Then next is be informed of the issues, platform, and personalities of the political candidates. Then next is set specific guidelines in choosing government leaders in terms of the candidates, social affiliations and interests, competence, lifestyle, and performance records. Then lastly, I conduct or participate in public debates that would inform citizens and gain the commitment of the candidates to integrate foremost the interests and welfare of the citizens in their program of government. So ayun nga po, sinasabi po dito ay na dapat kilala natin kung sino yung mga politikong ating iboboto. Wag lang po yung mga na dadala po tayo minsan sa mga pasayaw-sayaw lang, ah, yung mga politiko na walang matibay na plataforma. Yan. Then next naman po ay during elections. Yan, exercise vigilance and the right to vote. Ang ating first step ay again, si Vanessa. Ayan, ang first step natin ay vote accordingly to your conscience. Then next is protect the integrity of your own vote from any other undue influence. Then next is volunteer in organizations that work for clean and peaceful election. And lastly, I watch out for instance of cheating in the elections and inform authorities and the rest and electorate of such activities. Last naman po ay after election, practice continued vigilance and participate in governance. Ayan. In the counting of and canvassing of votes, attend consultations and public hearings, and participate in local special bodies. Last po ay legislate advocacy, process where citizen talks with lawmakers and other implementers in the government to ensure that the concerns and welfare of the general public are included in the discussion of making laws. Next slide po, which is yung process of election po. And si Kirby po ang magdi-discuss.
So, these are the steps in the election process. Ang una po ay registration day, revision day, list of votes, casting of votes, counting of votes, preparation of election returns and other reports, distribution of election returns, which consists of 3 board of canvassers po. Ito po yung mga canvassers for president and vice president, board of canvassers po for senators, saka po ang for provincial, city, district, municipal. Saka po ang proclamation of winning of this of candidates. Lang po. Ito naman po ay si Adrian po magdi-discuss.
hello, audible po ba?
Yes po, okay na po.
Yan. Eh, ito naman, perception, political affair po, process,
Ayan, hello po. Hello. Medyo may problema pa rin po ata sa signal. Ako na lang po ulit magdi-discuss. Ayan po. So, citizen voter participation in political affairs. Initiation and referendum. Through the system of initiative, The people can directly propose, exact, and reject laws at the local level. Citizen may directly propose amendments to the Constitution by a petition of at least 12% of the total number of registered voters, where 3% of registered voters in each legislative district are presented. For plebiscite naman is through the people approve or reject the call for a constitution, approve or reject proposed changes in the constitution, and at the local level express their will on certain local issues. For sectoral representation, the party list system of representation gives sectors the chance to be represented in Congress together with congressmen or women or representative. The Constitution and the 1991 Local Government Code (LGC) allowed allow for representation of sectors in the local legislature of Sanggunian. And for local special bodies, ordinary citizens are called to sit in local special bodies such as local health boards, school boards, peace and order councils, and monitoring and evaluations of the implementation of PPAs in the aforementioned levels of LGUs. And that's it for voters education and how to become an active citizen sa ating bansa po.
And so, ayan everyone. Thank you all for attending and presenting the topics for UTS. I think we'll end this meeting here kasi nakatatlo na din naman tayo. And I know this is recorded by Denzel, which will be sent later sa GC for ma'am's um, knowledge. Tapos, nakapag-check na din ng attendance. So, thank you all for attending. Pahinga na kayo.